What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Captain Zach. That's right, I listen to y'all. And today's subreddit is r/PettyRevenge. Alright, this story's called The $250,000 Pen. One of my best friends, Alex, was a staffer in state legislative office. His boss was head of a key Senate budget committee, so there were always people coming to solicit her support for a particular project or grant or whatever. Someone representing an arts program that was looking for a $250,000 grant is waiting. I'll call her Lobby Ann. She comes up to the reception desk and asks for a pen. The senator keeps giveaway pens with her name on them in stock, reasonably nice ones, so Alex reaches over to the can where the pens are. Lobby Ann asks something along the lines of, "Well, then the senator will know that I showed up without a pen." So what? She looks across the desk. Alex has some work spread out with his own favorite pen, an expensive one with lapis inlay, and engraved with his name and term of office of a campus organization. Lobby Ann reaches over, snatches it up, and drops it in her purse. Alex, who is a very polite person, is completely gobsmacked and then tells Lobby Ann that's his personal pen and not up for grabs. Lobby Ann gives him a contemptuous look and refuses, very rudely. One of the sad and funny things about this story is that she uses a slur that Alex was not sure was a reference to his heritage or his perceived sexuality. Oddly enough, given the nature of the stolen object, either slur ended with ink. Alex, confused and deeply upset, sits back down while Lobby Ann flounces back to the waiting area. In a few minutes, the senator comes out to get Lobby Ann. As they're walking past Alex's desk, he stands up and says in a very clear voice, "I'm going to need my pen back." Lobby Ann stops in her tracks, as does the senator, and Alex says, calmly, "I may be a slur or a slur, whatever you want to call me, but that pen is precious to me. You stole it right off this desk and I want it back." The senator kind of gasps and says, "She stole your lapis pen? She called you a slur," and then turns to Lobby Ann, who is frantically fishing around in her purse and stammering something about just borrowing it, and says, "Give it back." Once the pen is back in Alex's hands, the senator says to Alex, "Come on back, I need you," and turns and walks into her office, leaving Lobby Ann standing there as the senator shuts off the inner office door in her face. Then, the senator picks up her purse, smiles a big, bright smile, and says, "Want Starbucks?" So she and Alex go out the side door and across the street. They could see the front door of the office from Starbucks. It apparently took Lobby Ann about 5 minutes to realize how bad she'd messed up, and that she was not going to see the senator that day or any day, and that the project she was going to ask for money toward was probably doomed as well. She lined up strong support in the House, so it might have made it through, though it was not the kind of project the senator favored. When she came slinking out, she almost certainly saw Alex and the senator sitting there drinking their drinks. Alex always ends this story with, "That was the best coffee I've ever had." Edits! And just a few questions that keep coming up. I have added in the fact that I should have clarified from the start, this was a state senator, not a US senator. I've worked in and around state politics all my life, and I forget to make the distinction. I should also explain better about the pen situation, and here I have to make a few assumptions. The pens in the cup on the counter were probably campaign swag, in the senator's campaign colors with her logo on them. Lobby Ann probably thought that meeting with a politician using a pen she'd obviously just taken looked bad. If that was the case, she was focused on a stupid detail that the senator almost certainly didn't care about. And anyway, the pens were there to be taken. Also, I kinda tend to doubt that she carefully evaluated Alex's pen, judged it to be valuable, and got covetous. Again, this is my guess. She just saw a pen that didn't look like a campaign pen, a blue pen with gold writing on it, and just grabbed it. Until she picked it up, she may well have thought it was plastic. Once she picked it up, however, it should have been obvious from its weight that it was not a cheap pen. I do not have a picture of the pen itself, don't even know if Alex still has it, but as I remember, it looks something like this. And then there's a picture of a pretty nice looking pen. Finally! People are expressing confusion over the description of the word twink as a slur. And to me, this is kind of a good thing because it illustrates how far and how fast we have come in terms of combating sexuality-based phobia. The point was not that she was calling Alex a particular kind of gay person, it was that she was calling him gay. If that was, in fact, the word she used. It might have been the other one. He's of Filipino-Japanese descent. At the time, working in politics in the Deep South, Alex, who was and is in fact gay, did not feel he had the freedom to be open about his sexuality. Today, he's holding down a pretty good state government position and is happily, openly married to a very sweet guy he met right after we graduated college and has been with ever since. For this guy to have gone from being scared to even say he's gay to being openly married is great, and it must have felt amazing to be able to do that finally. Also, don't steal someone's nice pen, because if someone has a nice pen, that means that they're a pen person, and pen people are crazy and weird. And if you take away their obsession, they will go crazy and weird on you. I don't understand it 100%. I'm assuming it has something to do with if your career involves signing things a lot and your signature carries a little bit of weight, then I guess I can kind of understand. But either way, it's weird, okay? And you just don't want that weirdness to target you. I used to work with a guy at the hotel, his name was Mr. Wesley, and he had a nice pen, and I just, picked it up to write something. I didn't realize it was his. He's like, hey, don't touch that pen. I was like, okay. He's like, I don't like it when people touch my pen. And I said, I can see that. But don't worry, he's like one of the nicest and most trustworthy people you will ever meet. His son was actually in the NBA, but he's retired now. But yeah, everyone in the community loves Mr. Wesley. Really cool guy, very nice, but weird about his pen. Alright, this story's called Pregnant Coworker Gets Her Just Desserts. So I work in this small, family-owned office that runs 24/7. There's about 25 employees total, but in the office there's only like 12 of us. The rest work off-site. There's a woman who works here, we'll call her Jill. Jill is almost 40 and has been there for about 10 years. For reference, I have been there for just over 4 years. Since I have been hired, and from what I hear, for her entire employment, she has never agreed to switch shifts with anyone. Not once. Not a single time has she ever done anyone a favor, no matter what. Yet, she has no issue with constantly asking other people to switch shifts with her. A year into my employment, my brother needed emergency surgery and I begged her to cover my shift the next day, and all she said was, "Sunday's my only day to sleep in. Sorry." I never forgot that. Whatever, she's not obligated to switch shifts. It's her prerogative if she wants to be universally disliked by our entire office. Anyway, Jill got pregnant about 7 months ago, completely accidentally, and was actually quite freaked out about it for a while. She's pretty much been nauseous her entire pregnancy and even keeps a trash can next to her desk, just in case she can't make it to the bathroom. Yesterday, she was feeling really sick, and around 12:30 p.m., she asked our boss if she could leave early. He told her she could only leave if she could get someone to agree to finish her shift. Our shifts are mainly 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., 3 to 11 p.m., and 11 to 7, with periodic split shifts thrown in as needed. I was working morning yesterday, scheduled to leave at 3, and she was scheduled until 7 p.m. The only other person who could have stayed for her had plans right after his shift, so I was her only option. She waited until 2:45 p.m. and then sauntered up to my desk, puppy dog eyes fully engaged, asked me to stay for the rest of her shift because she was really feeling ill. Now, I'm on Reddit a lot, and I never forgot that post about the mean manager refusing to allow her employee to be at her dying son's bedside. There's a line in that text exchange that I loved and have been waiting for the perfect moment to use, and this was it. I swivel to her face, looking her right in her eyes, trail my eyes down to her bulging, unplanned, pregnant stomach, and pointedly say, "A lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part," and just swivel right back and continue working without another word. It was glorious. Her face instantly dropped. It looked like someone farted into her mouth the way it twisted. She didn't say a thing. She just waddled away back to her desk, absolutely furious. 15 minutes later, I stand up and loudly announce my departure and that if anyone needs me, I'll be at home taking a nap. You know what? That's some good stuff. I love the dramatic line you gave her. I've had bad coworkers. Actually, pretty much almost every single coworker I've had has been bad. I've had one coworker that's been reliable every single time we've needed him, even for things outside of work, like for freaking moving, and the move we had to do was insanely grueling. It was horrible. Anyways, great guy, Rafi. Love you, man. You don't know how many times I've had to do the overnight shift, which I liked because it was slower and, I could just play games on my computer all night and it was relatively okay. But it sucks because I want to get off work on time and it shouldn't be an issue to want to get off work on time. But I've gotten off work 1 to 2 hours late more often than I have gotten off on time. That's because coworkers partied too late into the night and couldn't wake up in the morning. My own dad wants to sleep in, and because I'm his son, I have to allow that. And the guy who is the freaking manager to the place literally showed up 3 hours late without calling or anything. It was insanely horrible. My point is, coworkers suck. This story's called Faked Proof That I Had a Flat Tire So That the Lazy People in My Group Project Would Have to Do the Presentation Themselves, Therefore Likely Will Fail. I'm in a class where a group research project or presentation is a huge chunk of overall points. Everyone knows in group projects you always have that one slacker who doesn't do anything that you have to compensate for. However, I got stuck with possibly the worst 3 people to be in a project with in the class. I did the entire research, presentation, poster boards, etc., among many other annoying things myself. I tried talking to them and telling them that they needed to put in their share of effort. Ignored. I'd send them tasks to do. Ignored. I tried to schedule meetings. They'd say they were coming and then leave me alone at the library. This happened from the get-go. It was abundantly clear that they expected everyone else to do the work, but everyone else turned out to be just me. Rule: we couldn't have things 100% memorized word for word, and we couldn't read off of anything. We had to actually know the subject. I was fully prepared to do most of the talking and even wrote down a small script for them and told them to know what to say during their part, at the very least. The night before, I told them we had to meet to at least go over the whole thing one time. Once again, none of them showed. At this point, I'm livid and decide they can just do it themselves, which means they'd get up there, not know a damn thing to say other than the small info I gave them, and couldn't even BS anything because they did no research. Thing is, if we miss without an excuse, we fail the project. If you have an excuse, you have to have documentation. I commute and live an hour away, so I decide that I'll conveniently have a flat tire right before class. Went out and actually bought a tire so I could have the receipt to prove it. Emailed the professor, who said I can present by myself during his office hours. Turns out, they completely bombed, and not only probably failed the project, but since they're bad students, might even make them fail the class. Edited to say, the professor stated at the beginning that we were not allowed to contact him about people slacking in the group, and said to work it out amongst ourselves. Said that we were adults and that he wouldn't even respond to emails about it. Wow. That professor literally does not care. I've always been the one to carry the group throughout projects, and I honestly didn't really mind it. I liked being the smart guy. It's fun, nice little ego boost. And, I was usually friends with people I'm in the group with. But I will say this, every time I'm in a group project with girls, the girls really like to contribute. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be sexist and say that all girls are hardworking, but evidence speaks for itself, Alright guys, a little while ago I read a story called Screwed Out of My Holiday Pay Because We Don't Have Set Schedules. 3 months later, I used the exact same phrase to my boss when asked why I didn't come in when I wasn't on the schedule. And here's an update to the story called Update! screwed out of my holiday pay because we don't have set schedules. 3 months later, I use the exact same phrase to my boss when asked why I didn't come in when I wasn't on the schedule. Personally, I don't see the connection. I don't understand why they'd use two completely different titles, but here we go. Hello, all. As promised, my update to my post from a couple days ago, and this is a couple months old. Thanks to all for advice about the situation, things to consider, etc. Before work today, I had a follow-up interview yesterday for the new job I mentioned in comments and in edit. I was offered the position I wanted and was told I can start as soon as I want. I came into work today intending to work the shift today before leaving, as it's the last day of the pay period. When I got to work today, I clocked in and didn't see any managers or anything, so I started working. After 15 minutes or so, my boss came out and asked, "Oh, P, you really couldn't come in on Saturday?" Obviously, they knew the answer and I said no. They then asked me what I was doing that I couldn't work my usual shift. I replied that it wasn't their concern what I do on a day I'm not at work. They simply nodded quietly and walked away. About an hour later, boss came over and asked to see me for a minute. I go to their office and there is a manager. They are above me and lower than the boss, sitting in there as well. A condensed version of the discussion. Boss has a write-up and gives me a spiel about the attendance policy and said I have to get written up for a no-call, no-show. I refused to sign the write-up as I wasn't scheduled. So I can't no-call, no-show a shift I'm not scheduled for. Manager seemed a little confused. I don't think they were told that boss didn't put me on the schedule and that's why I didn't show up. So I pull the picture up of the schedule on my phone and show it to the manager, who then agrees with me that this isn't a no-call, no-show. Boss said I know what my normal schedule is as a full-time employee, and so I should have clarified that it wasn't a mistake. I said it wasn't my responsibility to double-check the schedule they put out and reminded them that I was told my responsibility was to check the schedule every week because we don't have set schedules. Boss said something about for future reference about working my normal schedule, and I said okay and asked if I could go now. I debated whether or not to stay the rest of the shift before deciding to go ahead and leave. So I wrote and signed and documented a note saying I was quitting effective immediately, and I left it on the boss's desk and told a manager on my way to the time clock. This is the first and only time I've quit without giving a 2 weeks notice. Sorry, the ending wasn't more exciting, but I'm super excited to be starting my new job and am happy to have been able to share my story. The revenge was satisfying to me, and I'm glad to be starting a better job with a better environment. Thank you all for enjoying it with me. You are so welcome. Gosh, it's so nice to be appreciated. All the hard work I do to enjoy things with people. Nice. Anyways, that's a satisfying ending to a saga of things that happened. Okay, this one's called, My roommate will jump out of bed and run to the shower when he hears my alarm in the morning. My roommate enjoys nice, long showers in the morning using all of the hot water. I realized that he literally jumps out of bed and runs into the bathroom when he hears my alarm. I started putting my alarm on silent for a while, and this was working well enough, but I still missed my morning shower several times because of their unreasonable long showers. So I just started moving to 2 alarms, one alarm about an hour and a half before I normally get up. This has caused him for about 2 weeks now to get up really early, run the hot water out, and be out with enough time for it to be warm again. Small victories are nice. Edit. It is possible to run out of hot water. Really, who questions that? This is intended to be a lighthearted post, hence the petty revenge. My roommate is not a piece of crap and we've been friends since 8th grade. Everyone does things their roommate doesn't like, myself included. Despite what people seem to think, we do talk about house issues. Sometimes people forget or don't realize how annoying it is or what they're doing, which is why I petty revenged. See, that's nice. You can tell that that's a good friendship because they do things to each other, but there's not really any hard feelings. But seriously, running out of hot water when you're just trying to relax or something is like the most infuriating thing. except for things that are more infuriating, but I'm not gonna get into that because I don't want to think about things. But who here is like part of the quick shower gang? I literally only need like 2 minutes to get out of a shower, honestly. Just shampoo, and then while the shampoo's in, just put the body wash on, rinse, and then just get out. And I use this really cool like coconut and shea butter Cantu leave-in conditioner. It's really nice stuff, and it makes my hair really soft. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.